But before getting into much detail, a little bit about me. So I am Odeta Jankaitina. I am a solution architect and data analytics consultant at Mako. I'm situated in Lithuania, and I'm working as a data specialist for about 10 years, and working with Power BI almost from its creation, like from 2017, something like that. So I'm not quite new at it, but still I try to make a CV from it with my experience, so I won't go into much detail right now because you will see that, of course. For today, I will talk about what you need to think about before starting even creating your CV, like what questions you need to answer. Also, something about design. I'm not a designer, so please be gentle with my CV. And then, of course, data, because what report is without data, and my example. So going to questions you need to answer before starting. It doesn't matter if you create a CV or you create a report, always you need to know who is your audience. So is your future company traditional or not? So do you have room to be whimsical a little bit with your CV or not? If it's bank, probably not. It's not a good idea to put memes or something similar to it. But if you can do that. Then who will look at your CV? If it's HR person, probably it's best not to put your portfolio there, like for example reports that you made someday or you want to make. And if it's data lead, then it's a good idea to do that, because probably he, she, they would like to see that, at least what you're capable of for right now, that you can use this tool. Another question you should ask, how will you share your CV? Will you be printing it? Will you send it? Will you put somewhere online for everyone to see? Because then it depends if you use some colors that are good. For example, if you print your CV, it's not very good idea to make it in the in the black background as these slides are, because it's not feasible. Also, how many colors will you use it there? If you use only one or two, maybe it's good, because then it's not that overwhelming. But yeah, again, it depends on your preferences. What page size will you use? If you put it online, you are more free with the size. If you print it, probably A4 is the best option for you. One more question, what role you are applying? You should know what kind of skills you need to emphasize there. If I'm going for Power BI developer role, then it's better to show off my visualization skills. If I'm going for a lead role, then my experience is more important there, not some very nice charts, but yeah. How you will show your visualization tools, visualization skills? Will you make it a lot of visuals there? Are you going to put portfolio there? Like, you should think what kind of things you will do there. And of course, even if it's a report, you need some explanations maybe. So for example, if you have a lot of experience, how you will show it? Will you use words? Will you use graphs? Will you explain those? For example, here you can see this and that. This is the explanation of the report, of the visual. Are you using those words? Are you using some arrows, like press here, mouse over there? You can see some more information about this. So again, if you printing that, it's not an option for you because you cannot mouse over on the printed version. Also, will you somehow highlight your personality? As I said, maybe you will put memes. maybe you will put everyday phrases like who is the audience, what problem they want to solve, like wherever you are working on. Maybe you will add illustrations. That's always a good option. Then a color palette. If I'm using bright colors, for example, here, I love everything red, as you can see here, but maybe this is how I'm expressing my personality. Or maybe, of course, I just like red, but never know. Then moving to design principles. How should your CV look like? So where to look inspiration for? So I didn't invent this idea to create a CV. I saw it in 2001 Storytelling with Data page. This was a challenge that everyone who is using visualization tool could create a CV. So you can still see those examples, look there, interact with reports, but I think maybe they are not interactive, but some of them created some visuals there and GIFs, so you can do that also. Another place is Canva, for example. You can just write CV and add data analyst or wherever, and you can have a lot of different, as you can see, CVs there, and you can drag some ideas from it. For example, as I said, I'm not a designer. It not comes easy for me to create something beautiful on the paper, so I just picking some ideas from all of these CVs and putting that in one place. And while you are thinking about how your CV could look like, I think there is few main things. For example, what colors do you like? Do you like black background, white, or do you like contrast, huge ones or not? You should think about it. Of course, you should think about all these, as I said, where you put your CV. That's also important. What design details do you like? Do you like some floating parts, picture frames? Should it be rectangular, circle? Just think, if you see some examples of CV, what catches your eyes? What makes it more interesting for you? Also look for those CVs who has some graphs, because you want to have it to show your visualization skills. So of course, this is a very good option if you cannot think of that. So this is what examples are for. And the last thing is, how much space will you need? If you are quite fresh, so probably you don't have a lot of experience, so you need to think how to fill that very huge page that it wouldn't show you that it's just like few little things there, because it could be very not good looking. So also, if you have a lot of experience, you cannot put only text in the whole page or have like 3 pages put it there. It's really not noticeable that much, because who likes to read a lot of text? I don't know. I don't. So, and then the types. So in that challenge, I saw 3 main types of reports or interactive CVs. Classic, graphic, and novel. So again, I'm not saying that one is better than another, but you can choose whichever you fancy. So for example, classic, you are putting only a few visuals and mainly text. Graphic, it means everything is one visual or another. And the third one is novel. So think outside of the box. I will show you a quite nice example where you have like a storytelling dashboard that is also a CV. So this is example of classical one. Here you can see only one chart for skills. Another one is graphics. So again, everything represents the visual. So skills, languages, and so on. And the most that I like is this one, novel. So Steven made this as a board game. So I think it's very out of the box thing, very nice one. Then, of course, if you're creating report, you need data. So for your experience, you can put everything in Excel and write by hand. But if you have a LinkedIn, you can export data and have it, again, in the Excel format, but still you don't need to repeat everything, but you already put it. So this is very nice option, and it's free. So you can do it yourself. So when you will have these slides, you can have a try. And now my example of how it looks like. And it's a little bit stucky. Yeah, so this is my example. I'm not saying that this is the best, but this is what I made of. So here I created, of course, a picture, put it my current description about me. This is, as I said before the session, generated by ChatGPT, of course, because who likes to write huge text themselves? Then I put it my contact information, and for hobbies, I decided to put everything just with icons, because I think they are self-explanatory. For my experience, as maybe I didn't mention, I have 10 years experience. I was working with SQL for 9 years and so on, so I put it that. For my experience as data person, here I put it even from my bachelor's degree. So if I move over, and if it let me do something there, sorry, yeah, this is what happens. So yeah, I put it there a small description about my job. And here as a speaker, since I pressed something, sorry. As a speaker, here I put some previous events, and of course, if I move over on here, I can see what kind of things I already did. So this is the last session that I'm doing. And the last thing I did, I put it languages. So again, all the data came from LinkedIn. And how I did some of these things, I will put everything in GitHub so you can have an example. And since it's only 20 minutes, I cannot show you everything how I did. But for example, for me, it was very hard to make this one. As you can see, there are some parts here. So I made this from free visuals. Apparently, it's very difficult to put these dots on exactly x-axis in Power BI. So I created two the same, and I hidden some things, then overlaid them, and then on top of everything, I put these bonds where I can see, like, oh, from this year to this year, I was learning something. And then I was intern, and this is what, for example, my current position is. I didn't put much work, as you can see, in descriptions, because I'm not looking for a job right now, but Mark is happy about it, of course. So yeah, and also I use tooltips. So again, for my case, as you can see, I'm not planning on printing this one, because it's black background, because I like this, probably because of my SQL background a little bit. Also with not hurting my eyes. I don't know how about you. Then, yeah. So all of these are made with tooltips. And what is nice about this, at least for me, so these are created by text values. I don't know if you know what is it. But if you put a text box, you can press here value and write some text that it will change depending on your filters. So then I move over on one of the countries, it filters out the country, and this is how it's showing what kind of conferences and topics I have there. So this is a very nice one. Because why I did this? Because I didn't find any visuals that did that. So, yeah. And moving on. So this one, again, is a visual. Now it doesn't make sense, But as I said, when you filter out, then again, because of these values in the text, I can make this possible. And the last interesting, at least for me, is Power Query. So this is the place where magic happens. Hopefully it will show sometime. Yep. So this is all the data I had there, and what I had the most, not problems, but issues, as we can call it, is to make those bounds, as you said, as you saw, like where my one position started and another ended, or one started, ended, then another started, ended, and so on. Where I had this, so because in the LinkedIn, as you know, you are putting only start and then dates, and that's it. And here I need the whole array. So this is where I did some Power Query magic, so you can see a lot of things happening there. So it was this table. So what I did there, where is it? Added some dates as a list. So there is one nice formula there. So I just divided. Now I know how many days I've been on each one, and this is a list because I need to expand everything and duplicate my rows for each date. So it could be months, it could be days, wherever. And then I expanded that because here, for example, you can see I was a student representative from 2019 to 2012. And I added those dates and expand, and all of this is duplicated for every day from the start to the end. So this is very, at least for me, was nice to see how it's happening. And for the background, the last thing that I wanted to show, so this is my background. I didn't create that in Power BI because you can know that Power BI is not working very well if you put a lot of visuals in one place. It could be, if you have a lot of data, of course, it could be too overwhelming for it, and you can have some performance issues. So this is usually why we are creating backgrounds in PowerPoint or whichever tool you prefer. So yeah, I put some things there, even a picture. And also, as I said, I will put this in GitHub that you can see how I created some things, some visual stuff there. And yeah, so I put every link there. Hopefully you can see through my inspirations. And also I put it the video how I created that nice round oval thing around my picture. That is a little bit trickier. And then icons, of course, as I said, they a little bit elevate your report. So I got that from some of PowerPoint, some from other places, so you can find them there too. And of course, if you don't know what kind of icon can represent one or the other thing, as ChatGPT, like really, it suggests very good things there. At least this is sometimes my problem. And yeah, thank you. Hopefully that was useful since it's only 20 minutes. Yeah, thanks.